What's up guys, and welcome back to my Pokemon Omega, Ruby and Alpha Sapphire video, or coverage video, or speculation, or whatever you really want to call it, a video surrounding that. Today we're looking at the box art of the two games. It's pretty much the only thing we've seen of the game so far, apart from this short gameplay sort of sneak preview that I'll look at in the future. And on the box art we have, obviously, Groudon on one and Kyogre on the other, but these Pokemon don't exactly look the same. Just from initial looking, you can see that it's not the same Groudon and Kyogre we know. It's very obvious right from the start, or at least there are some changes. Obviously it's similar, but it's not exactly the same. It's not just saying like a Groudon from, you know, the Sugimori art just placed on the front of the box. It's very different. So, as well as this, the official Pokemon company sent out an email to Daisuke Club members. Daisuke Club is basically the Japanese version of the Pokemon Trainer Club, I'm pretty sure. So, you know, it's basically like a thing you can sign up to and whatnot. They sent an email to the members saying that the box art is showcasing never before seen Pokemon. This is the same phrase they used when they described Black Kyurem, White Kyurem, and also Mega Mewtwo Y. And obviously those Pokemon were Pokemon that were linked to legendaries but weren't exactly the same. Obviously Black Kyurem, White Kyurem were fused with Kyurem and Zekrom, Reshiram respectively, and then Mega Mewtwo Y was a Mega Evolution of Mewtwo, so that adds some more sort of, I guess, like boost to the whole sort of the power behind it, I guess you could say. Anyway, it hints more at them being new forms or alterations to the Pokemon rather than just Kyogre Groudon with a few highlights on. So let's first take a quick look at actually looking at the Pokemon, looking at what changes have taken place here. So first up we have Groudon. Now its black markings straight from the start, you can see, are glowing now a bright orange in its new sort of artwork, I guess you could say. A really bright orange, and you notice that some of these markings are actually much larger than they are on the original Groudon. Obviously the original Groudon you see the black lines, but now we have sort of like glowing orange areas, and some of them even extend to places there weren't even markings in the first place. For example, over the chest area there's sort of sort of triangular like protrusions onto the chest which are also glowing and stuff like that. And also on the tail as well, the tail is pretty much just glowing all brightly. There's hardly any skin showing on the tail. There is a big glow coming from sort of the area, I guess you could say. Now also, the spikes on one side of its body or spikes on both sides of its body rather, are a darker grey. If you look at the original artwork, we can see that they are actually sort of white coloured, like a teeth sort of colouring there for spikes. However, in this new artwork, they're a grey colour. They're not white anymore. They are grey. So this again suggests some sort of colouring changes, some slight change to the Pokemon. Not huge because it hasn't got like extra spikes or whatever, but it's a slight change and it's noticeable nonetheless. We can also see that Groudon's eyes are now glowing a orange-red colour, whereas in the original artwork they're sort of not really glowing. They're just basically that colour. And now they'll see glowing a nice orange-red colour, again sort of relating to the markings and stuff like that. Those are all the changes I could pick out for Groudon. The only other change I sort of looked at was the fact that its tail spikes were sort of more splayed on a new artwork, but that they could probably do that anyway in the past. We just didn't see it on the old artwork anyway. So now if we move on to looking at Kyogre and looking at the differences between that and stuff like that, again we can see its formal markings are now glowing a different colour. In Kyogre's case it's more of a light yellow colour, a yellow-white colour rather than an orangey-red colour, because that fits Kyogre's design a bit more. We can also see it has a light blue outline, especially on its fins. It's got a very a blue sort of outline of its glowing area, and also along the bits of its body that used to be red, they're now a blue colour, sort of running around its body and on its fins and stuff like that. Also on its fin, on its two main fins, they're called dorsal fins. I don't know, that's the back one. My bad, but the fins, the main big fins it now has a sort of a purplish highlight on. You can see it's sort of, I don't know if it's called a highlight or what, I don't know what to refer to it as, but it's like an addition, it's a purple addition, it's like a chunk of purple colouring, sort of around or in the same area as the glowing area, sort of just a chunk that I don't quite know what you would call it, but that's sort of what it is. Again, this is a change that's not on the original Kyogre. The the big white spot and the smaller white spot that are on its back in the original artwork are now glowing yellow, much like the rest of its markings and body. And this is very different because it's sort of the spot. It was just originally it was just a spot, it's just a white spot, just a design little thing. But now it's glowing yellowy white coloured. Like what does this mean? Does this indicate some sort of change in Kyogre or a powering up or something like that? Or what does it mean? I don't quite know. As well as this, it has extra markings on its forehead that were never there on the original Kyogre model. So obviously this sort of, where they come from? Have they changed Kyogre's design, initial design at all, or have they just decided, where the markings come from? Because they weren't originally there, so it's not like they've just increased how much you can see the markings. They've physically changed more where the markings are. They've changed stuff around. So what's going on there? Also, much like Groudon, its eyes are glowing a different sort of colour. Like, obviously Groudon was sort of orangey reddy colour, and Kyogre is a sort of yellowy white colour. As well as this, Kyogre's tail fins seem to be slightly more splayed and sort of even longer than they were originally, because, well, just looking at it, you can sort of see in the artwork on the box, this seems slightly longer, in my opinion at least. And obviously they seem more splayed. There seems to be a bit more detail on the ends of the fins than there was sort of, on the original Kyogre model, so that's something similar there. As well as this, as I mentioned already, any red lines that were on the original Kyogre model pretty much been replaced by blue lines now, so slightly less sort of light blue lines to sort of just go better with Kyogre really than the red lines did. I mean, the red was alright, it wasn't like amazing, it wasn't bad at all, but the blue sort of blends it in, makes it sort of more sea, I guess. I don't know if that makes any sense at all. So now that we have sort of looked at analysed the changes between the two Kyogre and Groudon designs, we can look at some of the possibilities of what these new forms might be if they indeed are new forms. The first possibility is that there's no change at all. They are just Kyogre and Groudon again, just sort of given a revamp, a bit of a better design sort of thing. This is a possibility because of the fact that they're not amazingly different. There are just a few small differences, not amazingly huge differences. In some places there are, but not like they've gained some new spikes or some new, I don't know, new tails or new fins or whatever. There's not a huge difference in that sense. And also the never before seen Pokemon could just be a bit of a teaser to draw people into the games. They've done that before, especially with the brand new adventure, the New World, whatever this, was still based on Home. I guess just sort of trying to attract people to buy the game and stuff like that, because otherwise they might think remakes aren't going to sell very well unless there's sort of they're new and stuff like that. So it might be a marketing technique there. The second possibility I've picked up on is that it may be an orb form, okay? So not a Mega Evolution or anything, an orb form. And these new forms or looks would be linked to the red and blue orbs, the four, obviously, Kyogre and Groudon. Meaning that when the orbs are used with the legendaries or on the legendaries, they sort of power up and they get these new sort of forms, this new power up, obviously the power being the glowing markings and such, and get a higher base stats or something like that. This would tie into the story quite well, because then when Team Magma or Team Aqua use the orb on the legendary Pokemon, they would sort of become more powerful, and then they would cause the drought or the downpour to occur, and sort of stuff like that, in that way. So it would sort of tie into the storyline quite well there. And then they could be used as items similar to Mega Stones, but simply more like a Soldew, like the Soldew with the Latis. It's their own unique item. It's going to boost their attack and whatnot. So these orbs, when given to Kyogre and Groudon, could then sort of, I guess, power up, cause them to change form, which has higher base stats or something like that. The next idea I had is maybe they are weather-based forms, as in the new form possibly activate when in the sun or the rain respectively. Obviously, when being sent out into battle, if it was sunny, then Groudon would enter its new form, get powered up, sort of have some boost from the sun and whatnot, and Kyogre, if it was sent out to the rain, get again a boost up, and similar things like that. Obviously, because they both have Drought and Drizzle as abilities, this would mean that they get activated pretty much immediately, so sort of thing where they come out, they immediately go into their Uber form or whatnot. But it would sort of make sense, I think, in this opinion, because the fact Rayquaza is supposed to quell them down, sort of thing. It's supposed to quell their battle, it's supposed to calm them down, get rid of their power, I guess you could say. So if Rayquaza came in battle, it would get rid of the sun or the weather effects, and that means that Kyogre and Groudon will respectively leave their Uber forms, I guess we're calling them for the moment, and that would give them less power and maybe allow Rayquaza to control them some more. So I think it would work quite well in that respect, in my opinion, of course. And now if we move on to the penultimate idea, or the theory, or whatever you want to call it, Mega Evolution. Most people have jumped straight to the conclusion it's a Mega Evolution for these new forms, whatever else. Oh, it's a Mega Evolution of Kyogre, Mega Evolution of Groudon, or whatnot. Maybe they are. It would be possible, as there are several candidates for Mega Stones. I'll probably make another video on this in the future, so watch out for that whenever. However, I think it's unlikely to be a Mega Evolution, to be honest. I mean, there's no big changes in the design. We've only had small colour changes and whatever here and there, unlike other Mega Evolutions. The only Mega Evolution that has had such huge change is like is Mega Kangaskhan, because that one, you know, its child hops out its pouch. That's the only real change. There's no other change with Mega Kangaskhan, I guess. But most of the Mega Evolutions have a huge change, or a big change, or a very noticeable change when they Mega Evolve, whereas these Kyogre and Groudon forms don't have that huge a change. So are they Mega Evolutions? It's a mixed bag, you know. It could be, couldn't be. It's about half and half, in my opinion, whether there can be Mega Evolutions or not. The final theory I have, final idea, are maybe they are just other forms that maybe, sort of thing. And these forms, in my opinion, would be called Alpha form and Omega form. Now, obviously, the names for these forms could be Alpha form for Kyogre and Omega form for Groudon, because of the fact that you have Alpha Sapphire, Omega Ruby, which would make a lot of sense. These forms could be activated by any of the things I've already mentioned. For example, the orbs, weather, orb, and Mega Evolution. They could just be referred to as, rather than Mega Groudon, they could be referred to as Omega Groudon or Alpha Kyogre or something like that. These names also link quite well to the new designs, or the actual previous designs, as you see, Kyogre has Alpha symbols on its body and Groudon has Omega symbols on its body. You can see very easily there. I will make another video about these soon, more about Alpha and Omega as the naming of the games, and we'll talk more about that in them. But yeah, that's that. So guys, those are all my theories for what these new forms could be. There are so many different possibilities for these forms, who knows exactly what is going to come out of them. What I want to know now is, what do you guys think? Are these new forms, or are they just the same sort of same old? Or are they Mega Evolutions? Are they activated by the orbs? Are they weather based? Are they just anything you can think of, guys? Just let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'm interested to see what all you think, whether they're Mega Evolutions and whatnot. Leave thoughts down below. Would you like them to be Mega Evolutions? Would you like them to be just different forms? Would you like them to stay the same as Groudon and Kyogre? And if they are Mega Evolutions or activated by orbs or whatnot, how do you think that's going to link into the plotline and the story? Let me know in the comment section below. I'll be seeing you next time. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, smash that like button. It really helps me show support for the series and stuff like this. I'll be seeing you next time. I thank you guys for watching. Goodbye, my friends.